if you had to name, and he's gone now, so don't worry about it, but just out of curiosity, who likes Crooked Joe? Who likes Sleepy Joe? Who likes Crooked Joe? Who likes Sleepy Joe? Yeah, a lot of people do. I can't imagine New Hampshire voting for him. Anybody in New Hampshire, because they're watching right now, but anybody in New Hampshire that votes for Biden and Kamala, I really think I call her.
Right.
Could it be wishful thinking that Trump keeps on saying he's running against President Biden? I mean, at this point, when the conservative media outlets air the long, rambling message that Trump gave to the Economic Forum and the Hannity town hall, I don't know if they realize how much they're actually helping Kamala Harris, because hearing Trump speak just on his own and as much as he wants shows how much his cognitive decline is, and frankly, how much he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Generally, we don't bother to read the former President Donald Trump's deranged posts on social media. But this one is so unstable and so unhinged, it's important that Americans maybe know just how imbalanced the Republican nominee is. So here goes. Trump writes in full, quote, "This is the most radical left duo in American history. There has never been anything like it, and there never will be again. Crazy Kamala is indeed crazy. I hear there is a big movement to bring back Crooked Joe. What are the chances that Crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of the U.S., whose presidency was unconstitutionally stolen from him by Kamala, Barack Hussein Obama, crazy Nancy Pelosi, shifty Adam Schiff, crying Chuck Schumer, and others on the lunatic left, crashes the Democratic National Convention and tries to take back the nomination, beginning with challenging me to another debate. He feels that he made a historically tragic mistake by handing over the U.S. presidency, a coup, to the people in the world he most hates, and he wants it back now."
So Charlie, campaigns are about contrasts, and that's exactly what I was saying before.
His answer about the child care credit, he was asked a question about, like, do you support that? What would you do? And it was so clear from his answer that, one, he doesn't care about children, working families, how to help them out with any economic support. He hadn't even thought of it before. It was like the first time this topic had ever come to his mind, and maybe ever, or certainly in the recent past, it was like, oh, that, yeah, maybe we can do that. He couldn't come up with anything even remotely coherent because he doesn't care. Kind of makes you think that Melania should loan him her I don't care jacket, because he expresses that super easily when he can't even answer the child care credit.
But today was also about Donald Trump's economic speech, and we watched a lot of it. And I would dare any of you to listen to his answer on childcare and tell me what the hell he was talking about. It was one of the more incoherent things I've ever heard. He thinks tariffs are going to pay for everything. We know that they're a tax on the consumer. But this really highlights a big problem that everyone is saying, well, Trump is so transparent and Trump's out there and that's all that matters. What matters is the content of what he's saying. And none of it is explainable. This issue, which is a big priority for people, obviously a central plank of what's going on in the Harris campaign, he doesn't have an answer besides tariffs. And J.D. Vance yesterday was talking about just have grandma and grandpa do more, that's some sort of solution for people. He's going to have energy prices, drill baby drill, even though we're producing more oil than we ever have before, leading the world, more tax cuts for the rich, and tariffs are the only way that we're going to be paying for it.
I think tariffs are designed to punish countries who subsidize their products. But they don't work that way. And no, for specific countries they do. Look, I know.
You know what?
I know tariffs.
I've dated tariffs.
With us now is Reshma Saujani. She asked the question yesterday. She's a member of the Economic Club of New York's Board of Trustees. I don't know if you watched the debate in June, but I tried 3 times to get him to answer that question. You tried a 4th. Did you get anything out of that?
Kind of. I may have gotten a little bit more than you did, because he did answer the question. And what he told us was that childcare expenses are no big deal. The fact that you're drowning in debt because of them, sorry, but not sorry. And he also told us that, no, I don't have any ideas or a proposal or legislation. And it's insulting. And it's insulting to parents who are constantly having to choose between funding their daycare and feeding their kids. And the thing is like, if you don't have a plan to solve childcare, you are not fit to be president.
But maybe I'm giving him too much credit. It also could just be that he's cognitively become so declined. I mean, he does mix up whether or not he's running for Biden or Kamala Harris. I mean, this is confusing stuff here, and he can't even get that straight. So maybe he cares and he just can't remember that he cares. Either way, the media is giving him a major pass. We all know that Trump has been getting a pass pretty much ever since he entered into public life. But the fact is, when you are mixing up the name of the person you're running against, and that's not the major headline on every news outlet for days, if not weeks, whereas Biden having a poor debate performance and mixing up names himself becomes the central focus of the news, you know that they are not treating the two candidates the same, which does a major disservice. Even if I didn't support the Kamala Harris ticket, that does a major disservice because voters should be informed. They should know whether or not the person they're voting for is qualified and can actually conduct the office of which they seek. You know, the one time, though, that Trump was coherent in his speech happened to be when he was talking about himself.
For 4 straight years, I fought for American workers like I would fight for my own family. I took care of our economy like I would take care of my own company.
Are we shocked? Definitely not. He said that he's going to run the country like it was one of his businesses. That part came out really clear and surprising that he's willing to stand by that. But that's Trump, the ultimate narcissist who can't ever see when something he says is frankly laughable. Because let's talk about Truth Social. That's his most recent company that he's a part of, and it has lost 80% of its value since it became public in March. 80% of its value. Trump actually is finally going to be able to sell his shares in 3 weeks. He was under a lockup, which is pretty standard for like one of the founding investors. By the time he's able to sell it, the value will be completely gone. But he's planning on running the country like his company. So I guess we should expect to lose 80% of our value in 6 short months. And this is when the stock market actually had major gains during that period of time. And what did Trump do? Does he double down and try to help out this failing stock? No, he decides maybe it's a good time to start posting on X. Well, that sounds like our country too, doesn't it? He cares more about himself and his ego. He wanted to prop up his interview with Elon Musk and X. And so he started using it, not caring that his own social media site stock was dipping, and maybe it wouldn't look very good if he went on a competitor, but he did it anyway because it always matters more about him. So he's right. He is going to run this country like he runs one of his companies. He's going to put himself first, and he's going to just let us just run into the ground. But what if I'm not being fair? What about his other companies? Well, we all know about his other companies. We know that the Trump org has been criminally convicted for tax fraud, and that he's been found civilly liable to the tune of about $500 million. So let's just say we know he was coherent in that answer. And we also know, because we all can read the newspaper and listen to the news, that he hasn't run his companies very well, but he was being honest about that, because last time around, he didn't run this country very well. And when it was time to pass it over, he tried to destroy it rather than pass it over. So I do think he's going to run this country like he runs his companies, putting himself first, breaking laws, losing money. Is that what the voters want? Well, Trump tells us what he's going to do, and that's what he's planning on doing. The rest of the comments, things that are really important to people like childcare, well, him and J.D. Vance have shown us time and time again, they don't actually care about children. They just care about controlling women and their choices. Trump reveals himself to be who he is every time he talks. So thank you to those conservative media outlets that are just letting him speak, because that is what voters should hear, because frankly, it's a bunch of nonsense.
I know some smart rich people. In fact, I think maybe all the rich people I know are smart, but there's a lot of stupid rich people. And New York's stupidest rich people gathered in one room today and proved how stupid they are with reactions like this.
Caracas, Venezuela has almost no crime. Next year, I'm going to suggest that the Economic Club hold its meeting in Caracas because we'll be safer than we are in our country if they win. We'll be far safer.
Now just think about how stupid you have to be to say that. Then think about how stupid you have to be to clap for that.
I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that because look, childcare is childcare. There's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time, coupled with the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on in our country, because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you about. We're going to be taking in trillions of dollars, and as much as childcare is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again. We have to do it because right now we're a failing nation. So we'll take care of it. Thank you. Very good question. Thank you. Thank you, Ben.
Childcare is childcare. That guy talking isn't the problem. It's those people clapping that have brought this country to this crisis point in its history as a democracy.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.